I said this before in a recent episode that I just did 2 weeks ago. The Carolina Panthers are doing the impossible, and they're having a Cinderella season for the ages. The Carolina Panthers are something that most of the NFL and myself wouldn't have thought of seeing or witnessing, especially in the year 2025. The Panthers are 8-7 after beating divisional rival in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to claim first place in the NFC South and could clinch the division for the very first time since 2015, nearly 10 years ago when they went to the Super Bowl and Cam Newton was their quarterback then, and we have their very first winning season since 2017, nearly almost 8 years ago at that time span. At the end of the day with Bryce Young, some people call him bust, I call him inconsistency, but he stays upright at the right time. Bryce Young is having a decent season so far, but I'm still not sold on him yet. One thing Bryce has improved on really well is that the fact that he's throwing the ball out quicker and he's not turning the ball over as much as he did during his first 2 years in the NFL. Of course, he still has 9 interceptions that he's thrown, but he's trying his best to cut those down. Bryce Young now has skill players that he could trust in with Rico Dowdle and Chuba Hubbard as his running backs, rookie Terrio McMillan, Xavier Legette, and Jalen Coker as his main wide receiver targets. Of course, he has Tommy Tremble as his main tight end target. And then you still have veteran offensive tackle in Taylor Moton as a solid tackle on that offensive line. Under the leadership of Dave Canales and Brad Isaac as the main offensive play callers, of course, if you guys are wondering by now, Dave Canales does call some of the plays on offense. The offense, for the most part of this season, has played well enough to get 8 wins. Unfortunately, their offense sits at the bottom half of the league. And of course, that is due to Bryce Young being inconsistent. We all know that by now. However, for much of this season, the Panthers' defense have been the main bread and butter when it comes to coming up big to win games. The statistics on defense are not eye-popping, but defensive coordinator Ejiro Evero found a way to make this defense good enough for themselves to be still in games. The most improved section of this defense is their secondary, and that's been the strongest suit for this defense all season long. Their secondary is like an emulation of the Broncos' no-fly zone, or in this case for the Panthers, no-fly zone 2.0, when you have J.C. Horn, Mike Jackson, and Trayvon Merrick anchoring that part of the defense. On the defensive line, you have veteran presence in Derek Brown, along with decent signings with DJ Wanham, Tashawn Wharton, and Ashawn Robinson, who's a very good run stopper. The defense sits at 17th in total defense and 14th in score defense, the middle of the pack, but it was a lot better compared to last year. Even though the Panthers defense only has 25 sacks of the season, but it doesn't matter. It only depends on timely stops and getting at the quarterback at a timely succession. Other than that, the Panthers defense has been really well this season. With just 2 weeks left for the NFL season, with the NFL playoffs looming around January 10th, everything hangs in a balance for the 2025 Panthers as their season's fate awaits in their last 2 games. Their last home game against the number 1 seeded Seattle Seahawks and playing against the Buccaneers again, but this time it's in Tampa. Everything that the Panthers weirdly accomplished this season rides on these last 2 games, and it won't be easy for Carolina and Dave Canales. And Dave Canales, along with Brad Isaac, the offensive coordinator, specifically on the offensive side of the ball, needs to get Bryce Young ready. The same thing with Ejiro Evero on that defensive side of the ball. Get everybody ready, because it's going to be a bumpy ride for these last 2 games for the Carolina Panthers. Don't matter if they're 8-7. With the Panthers beating 8-7, first place in the division, beating playoff caliber teams such as the Green Bay Packers and the Los Angeles Rams, swept the Atlanta Falcons, and could possibly sweep the Buccaneers too. Are the Carolina Panthers in 2025 playoff bound? We all just have to wait and see, because it's very hard to see if the Panthers are ready to go toe-to-toe with other NFC heavyweights like the Los Angeles Rams and the Seattle Seahawks, like I just said, the Philadelphia Eagles representing the NFC East, the Chicago Bears representing the NFC North, and the 49ers representing the NFC West, along with the Rams and the Seahawks, as those three NFC West teams are in the playoffs right now, while the Detroit Lions and the Bucs are still on the outside looking in the hunt. The Panthers at this point in the season control their own destiny divisional-wise, but everything else, it will be a battle test. I said this before in many other episodes that there is no room for error. There is no room for error for the Carolina Panthers for these last two games of the season. They have to give it their all. It's now or never. Go big or go home. Keep pounding. But please, go into these games with everything you got and punch them in the mouth. Don't lay flat on your face and let those opponents get to you, because that's how you lose games. That's going to be it for this NFL edition of the Eli Speaks Show. Let me know what you guys think about this question. With everything the Carolina Panthers have done this year in the NFL season, is this Carolina Panthers team good enough to qualify for the postseason? Are the 2025 Carolina Panthers playoff bound? With this team on paper, offensively and defensively, you can say yes or no, but it's very hard to tell, like I said before. We'll just see what happens, because it's just hard to tell if this Panthers team, and with the season that they're having right now, is enough for them to be in the playoffs with the big dogs. And as always, please like, comment, share, subscribe, and thanks for listening.